Turning now to your community focus with Providence Mayor Jorge Elorza, now term limited. There are multiple candidates vying to be the next leader of the capital city. We're joined live in studio by one of them today. Brett Smiley, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
So folks might know you because you most recently served as the Director of Administration at the state level. But give us your 60-second elevator pitch. Why do you want to be the next leader of the capital city and turn now to elected office instead?
Great. Yeah, I love Providence. It is such a great city with so much potential. I think potential to be a true world-class city. And yet we seem to fail to get the small things right. And so I'm running to mayor to really get back to basics, to focus on the things that matter most to residents in Providence. Improving the quality of our public schools, restoring a sense of safety to the city, and then focusing on these core quality of life issues impacting families and businesses, everything from filling potholes to plowing the snow, so that we could be a city where things get fixed the right way, the first time, and just be one of the best run cities in America. I know that these things are possible, and after serving as the city's first chief operating officer, the governor's chief of staff, and the state director of administration, I'm the only candidate with the experience in managing thousands of employees, budgets of hundreds of millions of dollars, and I know that I could build a team to be effective from day one.
There's been a lot of debate recently about the mayor's vaccine mandate for all city workers, including police officers. Do you support the mayor? Do you think that vaccine mandate should be in place for those workers?
Listen, I think everybody should get vaccinated. I think every city employee should get vaccinated. I think every resident in Providence should get vaccinated. That's the only way we turn the page and start to move on from the pandemic to living with this into the future like the flu or the common cold. And so I've been, when I was part of the COVID response team with Governor Raimondo and Dr. Alexander Scott, have been advocating for vaccinations. As a candidate, I've been doing the same. I think everybody should get vaccinated.
But should they be at risk of losing their job if they're not vaccinated?
I think every city employee should be vaccinated, and I think it's the mayor's responsibility, and maybe in partnership with the city council, to keep negotiating, to keep working with our unionized employees to get them on board so that we get to a place that everyone gets vaccinated, which has happened with the other unions where something like 5 firefighters at the end of the day didn't get vaccinated, and I'd like to see the same outcome with the police.
So if you were mayor today, would you take action to terminate those close to 80 police officers who have not gotten vaccinated yet?
I would keep negotiating. I'd answer their questions. I'd see what we can do to get them on board. I understand that in the past we've provided an alternative to things like testing as a way around it, but that's been provided during work hours. They effectively get paid to go get tested instead of vaccinated. I would keep raising additional barriers so that is a harder and less attractive option, so that hopefully everyone agrees to get there.
You mentioned this in your first answer, making Providence feel safe. Violence in the city has been a huge topic. Day one, Mayor Smiley, what do you do? What concrete step do you take to try and curb all of the gun violence in particular that we've been seeing?
We need to get back to real community policing in Providence. What does that mean? That means officers walking the beat, riding their bicycles, getting even more engaged with the community than they've ever been before. And in order to do that, we're going to have more police officers. At the same time, we need to further explore interventions like this alternative response so that we know that not every 911 call needs an officer with a gun to respond. Sometimes a mental health worker, an addiction counselor is the right way to address that person in crisis, and that frees up officers to respond to violent crime and gun crimes, which we have no tolerance for. And so I believe in community policing, and I think we're going to need more police officers in order to do that effectively.
I wanted to ask you a personal question before we leave. You tweeted something back in November that you're celebrating 20 years of sobriety. First of all, congratulations on that milestone. But second, a lot of people out there are struggling, particularly during the pandemic. So why did you share this news now, and what's your message to other folks who might be in a similar situation?
It's not something I've ever been particularly public about or even all that comfortable talking about in some public forum, but it's really hit home over the pandemic. So many people have struggled, and the addiction crisis and the deaths from overdoses in Rhode Island are skyrocketing. And I think it's important for those of us who've been able to sustain a period of sobriety to talk about it, because you never know. If one person says, oh, there's someone I can identify with that has faced some of the same demons that I have, and to either learn about a resource that's available or to just know that recovery is possible. I felt like I needed to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and share that part of me so that people know that everybody almost every family at this point has someone struggling with addiction, but that recovery is possible. There are resources available, and we can get better.
Providence mayoral candidate Brett Smiley, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Kim.
And of course, there are other candidates in this race. We will continue our conversations with them right here on 12 News at 4 in the coming weeks. Also in the race, challenging Brett Smiley, Gonzalo Cuervo, Nirva LaFortune, and Michael Solomon. And looking ahead to tomorrow's Community Focus with the director of the Department of Labor and Training. He'll be joining us for our monthly conversation with him on the status of jobs in the Ocean State.